Dead Island 2 is a game where, as our reviewer Mark Delaney put it, quote, every single enemy in the game exists like the world's grossest onion, with each layer able to be peeled via katana, mallet, or anything else you'll equip, which I'd love to show you, and can after about 30 seconds so YouTube doesn't flag our video. It's also a game with some deeper sandbox elements and plenty of things you didn't know you could do. So let's get into it. If you're planning on playing Dead Island 2 with a friend, and many of the encounters do feel balanced for co-op, know that you can only join the game of someone either very close to or behind where you are in the story. If you get way ahead, you can expect to be taken back to earlier in the story to play with others. The higher level player will have their damage output lowered so as not to be OP. Dead Island 2 has your classic loot system with greens, blues, purples, and at the very end, oranges. As a matter of fact, the game throws the bulk of its named and unique weapons and weapon mods at you in the latter part of the game. So use whatever you want, have fun, and then worry about crafting more toward the end. And yes, the game places you back in the world with more to do after the story missions conclude. You won't miss out. Every zombie movie ever drills into its audience to go for the head, and while that has its place in some situations here, it's far better to go for the legs. That's because the game spawns zombies around you constantly, and they tend to group up or push on you in waves. Most do not go down instantly with headshots, but going for the legs will put them on the ground, where they are far easier to manage. There's a wide array of things in the environment that react to elements like fire, electricity, acid, and water. Before you start a fight, have a quick look at what's around you. Poking a pool of water on the ground with an electric weapon will conduct electricity across the entire surface. Pouring gasoline under a locked gate will let you barbecue zombies on the other side before going in. Dumping water on acid will dilute it and allow you to pass. You can even use zombies to harm others. A Crusher's AoE attack can damage lesser enemies, and grenade-strapped zombies can detonate and kill others nearby. But keep in mind that elemental-based zombies are immune to the thing already on them, like fire zombies that shrug off fire attacks and so on. Curveballs are the game's throwable items you can find through blueprints or buy from vendors. Always check vendor inventories. They can be used in really fun ways, like hitting a zombie with a sticky bomb and then drop kicking them into their besties. The same can be done with meat bait, also good for just gathering zombies in one spot, allowing you to run on by. Throwing stars are especially effective finishers in a fight. Chem bombs can put out zombies on fire, making them slightly less dangerous. If things are going really sideways, grab your trusty polearm and get onto the roof of a vehicle. This is like Zombie 101, just watch out as runners can climb on top of some vehicles too. Early in the game, you have the option to equip block or dodge. We absolutely recommend dodge. Even just 2 or 3 zombies can be fatal if you're not careful. Get used to dodging and isolating enemies, stay on the outside of groups. You'll find plenty of resting zombies around the map, and they promise not to bother you if you don't bother them. There are a few puzzles in the game that need you to chuck something at something, and since guns don't show up till later on, have a few disposable weapons in your inventory for this purpose. The game's crafting bench is very versatile with the ability to mod, repair, and bring weapons up to your level. The repair and bringing weapons to your level parts cost cash. The amount is displayed here. You get cash by selling weapons to vendors or collecting it in the environment. Modding weapons takes crafting resources also found in the environment or gained from breaking down weapons. Later on, weapons start to have permanent locked perks, so even if you have multiple of the same weapon, check out their locked perks before breaking them down or selling them. Later in the game, weapon mod blueprints will require more and more specific specific ingredients that come from specific zombies. That means you can largely avoid regular zombies who will only degrade your weapons. The map will show you where some of these are likely to show up, but a few that gave us trouble are to get insect larvae from the swarm walkers, flammable liquid from inferno crushers, and electrified brains from voltaic screamers. Ingredients can be tracked from this menu at the workbench. You can also check the Zompedia in the pause menu and find the crafting parts dropped by any zombie type in the game. If you remember one thing, it's to buy fuses from traders every chance you get. They are a bit spendy in the early game at $1,500 each, but they open locked caches that contain a ton of loot, and it doesn't take too long before $1,500 is merely pocket change. Just because something tells you it needs a fuse or key doesn't always mean it does. In some cases, you can just break a window or find a climbing route to get in anyway. If you really can't find a way in, don't waste more time. Some areas are walled off by the story. A lot of early optional stuff, such as locked rooms, are meant to be revisited later. They're guarded by overleveled enemies that can often one-shot you. Another reason you might not be able to find your way into rooms is that a lot of locked areas need a specific key. You can typically find that key on a named nearby enemy. Aim at different zombies to find the one you need. Oh hello, Lifeguard Brody. Some of these named zombies are tied to story missions, so again, if it takes too long, move on and come back later. While you might be compelled to open every door in the game, because a lot of them do honestly lead to alternate routes or interesting items, just be aware that you can never close them again. Once they are opened, zombies can walk through them for the rest of the game. The game has a few quality of life mechanics that are surprisingly easy to miss early on, such as fast travel. You need to go find these maps on the walls of most safe houses in order to fast travel. The game also has a lost loot system like your Borderlands and Destinies. Your storage locker has a tab, which I only discovered at the end of the game, and oh look, my first orange weapon. Great. Safe houses and areas on the map respawn their loot constantly. You are meant to return often to gather more resources and weapons. In some cases, vendors will appear after story beats who sell new blueprints.
You friendly?
When people are friendly to me, darling.
There's more to Dead Island 2 after the credits roll, and honestly, a lot of the high-level skills and mods drop late in the game. So we want to know in the comments below what's the best weapon or build you've tried. Thanks for watching.